How to wrap a pattern around a ring, part 2. Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show how to create something like this. You have a pattern around some basic ring. In my previous video I have shown how to create a pattern using Image 3D and how to wrap them using bending tools. Now I'm going to use totally different tools. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first create a basic cylinder, and just use a standard cylinder. I'll resize it later. And what I'm going to do now here is going to take the polygon, top polygon, and inset this. So, and this is not through sizes. I'm just gonna use now basic, just a demonstration, but obviously through sizes will be much smaller than what I'm doing now. And I'm doing negative extrusion of -100, so to cut this out. And now we have this basic frame over here. Now obviously 100 even for this is too much, so I'm going to size it to 20, get something reasonable. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is we're going to create the texture first. So I'm going to go to Image 3D at this point to create this texture, and I have here a basic texture that I found online, and it's nothing major, but it's something you can actually create this in SelfCAD. You'll have much better quality if you create them from scratch in SelfCAD. But nevertheless, this is what I have here, so I'm going to use this texture here. Now, as you can see, this has a lot of faces, 44,000 faces, and it's good we have this amount of faces so it can bend nicely, but there is a downside to it also, that when you start bending these complex geometries, it will most likely start self-intersecting and create non-manifold meshes. So we'll see later how we're going to deal with that. So for now, it's not so nice for the ring. It's got to be a lot more detailed. Despite this fact, the amount of faces, it's still kind of pixelated. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to scale it down and I'm going to use key proportion, and I will scale it down to the height of, let's say the height of this is 20. So I'm going to make this 18. So it's basically, will have some room once I attach it to this. Okay, so now the question is, how do I wrap this around? So there's two problems there. I mean, first the basic thing, how do I wrap? The second thing is about the size. This size is not gonna fit, so I'm just gonna round off the size. The size is 51.99. I'm just gonna make it 52 to round it up. And the question here is that this is now, how do I wrap it? Okay, so for this I'm going to use a profile. I can draw a profile, but I like copy paste. I'm just going to use edge selection, loop selection, and simply select this loop, and I'm going to copy it, but I need to move it down a little bit. So I'm going to go to the move tool. I can go move by, or I can just set to 50, so it's basically in the center. So we have this profile here in the center. Okay, so now before I do something, I'm going to show you, that's not going to be the final solution, but I just want to show you the concept, how it works. So we have here, if I select a profile and a mesh, and I go to follow path, the mesh will have an option to duplicate. That's not what I want. There's an option to wrap, and wrap will basically wrap around the profile, as the name says. The thing here is that this will basically stretch the profile, and if it stretches the profile, not the profile, the mesh will be stretched, and basically the pattern will be lost. So SelfCAD has an option to repeat, and repeat basically will make sure that it's not stretching. Once it finishes, it will repeat it again and again and again until it goes all over the place and finalize it. Now I can play with the start and finish, but that's basically the way I think I'll leave it over here, and I'm going to finalize it. Now the problem here is that this is most likely not going to be a manifold, because they have self-intersecting, they touch each other and all this type of stuff. So for now, what I'm going to do here is, at this case, just to show you, I can simply select this profile as well. I can just merge or group them. Let's see, just group it for now. And I will use the slicer. In this case, if you want to 3D print this, you can use the slicer, because the slicer is not sensitive to these type of Boolean operation. It doesn't have to be manifold. So if you go to 3D print now, just want to show you, if you go to 3D print, you will actually be able to slice this. And in the settings, I think that's the default settings. In the settings is option mesh fixes, and there's option union overlapping volume. So I have that checked. And in this case, if you're going to slice them, regardless how they are. It will take some time because this is a really dense mesh. I actually should have used, I can still do it actually, exit that. I mean, it will take just a minute, not too long, but in the meantime, while this is working, I can also simplify it. I just want to show you that simplify actually is not gonna change it a lot, equality. Okay, this is already sliced, so nevertheless, it just takes a few extra seconds, but you can see this is sliced properly, there's no overlapping stuff, and everything is working. So this is the easiest way how to create that. Simplifying, so let's get rid of, let's say, inverse select and delete these things, so we only need this group. Now simplifying will actually merge them together, so we'll lose the group, you wouldn't be able to ungroup it later. This is the message that it gives you over here. But I can simplify it up to 5, and you see we have now 266,000 faces, and after simplifying, will take a few seconds, it will be merged, but at the same time it will reduce the poly count significantly, and you wouldn't really see a big difference. So here you go. So it's basically done. You don't really see a big difference, and it's down to 53,000 faces. Now this object is most likely not manifold. You can use Magic Fix, but Magic Fix sadly will reduce the quality of it. You can also use Boolean operation. I tested it actually before, when I made sure to have a little bit space, even just one, between the segments, and then I make sure the segments properly intersect, and you know, just playing a little bit takes me like 5 minutes to make sure that I can properly Boolean everything and make it manifold. But yeah, that's basically the idea, that how things like that will work. Okay, so that's basically it for now. I just want to show you a concept how you can draw these type of patterns actually in SelfCAD. So I'm gonna go to 3D Sketch, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a simple circle, but I'm going to reduce it to just 4. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm simply going to draw, let's say type in 10, the first part, and now I'm going to go to copy offset, and in copy offset I'm going to simply scale it. So I'm going to scale it on the X and Z by 10, and I'm going to make, let's say, 4 copies. Okay, so it's basically I have this. Now the thing here is that if you want to bend it, you want to have a lot of details. This doesn't have enough details, so I'm first going to merge them all together. And if you look over here, if I turn on the vertex mode, they have very few vertices. There's not a lot of vertices. So I'm actually going to go to resolution, and I'm going to increase the max resolution. So look what we have over here. We have a lot of details now, a lot of vertices. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to the drawing. Let's see, drawing here, 3D Sketch, and I'm going to draw another circle, but at this point I'm going to add a lot more details. So let's say, 16 should do probably, right? And I'm going to draw a tiny circle, let's say 3. Okay, 3 may be even too much, but we'll see in a second. And now I'm going to use follow path again. So it's the same logic, but now you don't have the wrap option because you only have profiles. Now I'm going to use the extrude option. Okay, 3 was too much, but you get the point what this is doing. So let's see, actually, let's scale it down a little bit. Let's scale it down to, this should be not more than, 3 is actually 6 because that's the radius. So let's make it actually size of 3. And now let's do the same thing. If you do follow path, you extrude, okay, so you get something like this. But now the idea here is that we have all of these details. This is what I wanted to show you, that because we added the vertices to the profiles, we actually ended up having a lot of vertices to this, so this can nicely bend. So I'm going to merge it again together. There's no problem merging because they don't touch anything. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to bend this just to show you the concept. So obviously that pattern is just repeat them. You take this and you repeat them again and make some similar pattern. Now what we're going to do here is I'm going to go to the bend tool, and I'm going to bend this. Let's see which axis. Actually I have to test, I don't know. So it looks like this axis should work, or the other as well, but let's give it a try, this one. And I'm going to move this to 355 degree. I don't want to intersect, just a little bit. Okay, so if I make it 360 degree, they will touch over here and actually join the vertices and will be non-manifold until I fix it up. It's not a big deal, fix it up. But you know, add the details and you know, or add another object to merge them, so we add some geometry. But the best thing is I don't make a touch, and this is kind of like a napkin holder or something like that, just to show you. And obviously you could do a lot more with these type of stuff. So that's basically the idea. Just for curiosity, I'm gonna try what happened if I bend it in the other direction. So I'm gonna bend it onto this direction, and the same thing. Okay, 355, and now we get this. Okay, so yeah, basically the same thing, just from the other direction. Anyways, that's basically for this tutorial. I hope you learned something new, and let me know in the comments if you want me to show anything else. Thanks for watching. Bye.